Hello, I'm making another video because Matthew McConaughey has just talked to me brain to brain today. And he said, Gail, could you please make a video to stick up for me and the men on your marriage list because we support you and we want the world to know that. So to honor Matthew, I'm going to do this. There's more on this Jesuit website that I need to expose. Let's start off with their agents. I mentioned Lori McBride and Ludmila Putin already. Let's go with Stuart Pullman. This is my ex-husband. It says right here, I'm not going to read the whole thing, just I invite you to check out the Jesuit website. It's called orderofthejesuits.com. And it says Stuart Pullman clone. What happened, I believe, was that my real husband was murdered by the Jesuits at the very beginning of my marriage and replaced with a clone. And here's what they say about this agent. He is considered a top agent for the Jesuits. Stuart Pullman, clone. Stuart is a genetic carbon copy of Gail Schuler's husband with several important modifications. The new and vastly improved, I'm not going to mention his name, I invite you to go visit the website, Stuart Pullman, I'll just put that in there, was infused with the genes of several genocidal dictators and right-wing talking heads in order to be best adapted to the role of destroying Gail emotionally, his goal eventually to weaken her to the point of death. That's why I got out of the marriage. I actually went to God in prayer, and the Lord said, if you don't get out of this marriage, you will die within a couple of years. So I listened to God, and I got out of the marriage, and I believe I did the right thing. He is a cold-hearted, sexually bleak, unromantic douchebag. His mission was to stop Gail's relationship with Brent Spiner by discouraging her from working on her teleplays, watching Star Trek, and writing Brent Spiner. He later played a major role in committing Gail to a mental facility. The Jesuits just out and out lied here. He never committed me to a mental facility. The only mental facility I went to was a psychiatric hospital, and this was after the birth of my child around 1988, and I was suffering maybe mild postpartum depression or something, and I couldn't sleep. I think my hormones were out of whack and other things were going on, and that was a voluntary admission. And at that time, my husband was telling me that I wasn't crazy and that I didn't need to go there and all this stuff, but I'm the one who chose to go there. The Jesuits are out and out lying. I have never been committed to a mental facility. In fact, none of the psychiatrists that I went to even said I was psychotic. All of a sudden, they changed beats when Brent Spiner came in my life. Anyways, let's get back to this. He later played a major role in committing Gail to a mental facility and destroyed any tapes that she had recorded of Brent Spiner. Although now divorced from Gail, Stuart remains a top-notch clone and a useful agent behind the scenes. All I can say is I'm glad I divorced this guy. Let's move on to the next agent. The next one, another top agent for the Jesuits, right here at their website at orderofthejesuits.com, Braga, bioengineer. A head agent nestled among our community at Paramount Studios. Brannon was carefully assigned as a producer and screenwriter working on Star Trek: The Next Generation. He was the first to inform the company, when you hear the word the company, that's referring to the Jesuits, of a possible romance sparking between Gail and Brent Spiner, and took action to break them up at every available opportunity, as well as smearing and belittling Gail by writing in characters for the shows that were similar to her only with terrible qualities. Actually, check out my link on my second webpage at gabriellechana.com. That's gabriellechana.com. On the page entitled Brent Spiner's True Love, it's up at the top. It's called My Victim Impact Statement link. And I mentioned him there, or I noticed some of the stuff he was writing. I was very suspicious about Braga back in the 1990s, and apparently my suspicions were justified. And I even told Brent in my correspondence with him that Braga seems to have some sort of a problem with me. I got over it later, because but apparently my original hunches about this guy were right on target. Apparently I'm a pretty smart woman. as well as smearing and belittling Gail by writing in characters for the shows that were similar to her, only with terrible qualities. His bioengineering expertise would later be called upon in the custom construction of Laurie McBride. Okay, let's move on to the next agent. Dr. Peter Naylor, and apparently this is a clone of him. Working in close cohorts with Stuart, our clone of Gail's trusted psychiatrist, this was in Summerville, South Carolina, around 1998, tried to convince Gail that she was experiencing psychotic symptoms and attempted to prescribe her dangerous and mind-controlled drugs. Yes, I figured that out right away. Read my victim impact statement on Brent Spiner's True Love page, second webpage of gabriellechana.com, and I talk about him there, though I omitted his name, I believe. Gail caught on more quickly than anticipated, and his mission ultimately failed, not only scaring her away from antipsychotics, but causing her to abandon the medications for manic depression that she had previously been prescribed. That's because I figured out I wasn't a manic depressive. And I got off those. I've been off of all psychiatric meds since 1998, and I've never gone back on them. I don't need them. I'm not mental. So I haven't been on them. I got on them only because I was having trouble sleeping. And when I was in my 20s and 30s, I have to admit I trusted doctors too much, and I just followed them like a god and did whatever they said. I'm a lot smarter than that now. But causing her to abandon the medications for manic depression that she had previously been prescribed. Peter Naylor would be the first in line of many Jesuit physicians that would to lure Gail into accepting psychiatric medications. It's possible that maybe the earlier psychiatrists I had were Jesuit physicians, but I've noticed in this website they're getting the dates all wrong. I voluntarily admitted myself to a psychiatric hospital in around 1988, and then on and off between 1988 to about 1998, I took psychiatric medications for manic depression. They were lithium, Tegretol, which was very bad for me. I didn't even need to be in. The lithium wasn't helping me. And what else was it? Dalmane was the only thing that worked for me because was helping me with sleep. That's a tranquilizer. And what else was I on? Trilofan, which was, I'm going to tell you, this medication really messed me up. Really messed me up. I didn't need to be on any of it. That's the sad part of the whole thing. You hear this rasp in my voice? It's because I was on all that junk that I didn't need to be on. Anyways, once I figured out that I was duped by all these doctors, I just weaned myself off of all psychiatric meds, and I've been on natural medicine ever since. I'm big into natural medicine for that reason. I don't trust doctors. Most of them are crooks. Let's get back to this. Peter Naylor would be the first in line of many Jesuit physicians that would lure Gail into accepting psychiatric medications. He was actually one of the last. He was the last doctor that I saw. The doctors that lured me into psychiatric medications were earlier than him. So they're getting their order all mixed up in this dead website to make themselves appear all-powerful and me like a weak mental illness wacko. Next agent. Dr. Allan Liberman. Temporary mind control is what they say about him. With help from Laurie McBride. I did notice something strange about Dr. Liberman in 1998, but he seemed to have gotten over it, so I just forgot about it and went on. With help from Laurie McBride, we were able to temporarily take control of Dr. Lieberman's brain and extract Gail's allergy records from him. It's no wonder they're so good at polluting the air. They use satellite technology, and I don't know what they do. They shake the trees and the pollen or something, and it all gets into the air, and it's like, it really whacks me out, man. Anyways. Ever since I've seen Dr. Liberman, whenever they want to put pollen allergies or stuff in the air, it really whacks me out. Take control of Dr. Lieberman's brain and extract Gail's allergy records from him. I really believe the Jesuits use their satellite technology to manipulate the pollen count in the air and make sure that all the trees and weeds and everything that I'm allergic are maximized at times when they want to whack me out. But they've been doing that ever since 1999, and I've gotten used to it, unfortunately. He and our temporarily assigned Jesuit medical assistants also played a role in covering up the formaldehyde poisoning we were attempting to sicken Gail within her home. It was a mobile home. Again, check out my second web page at Gabrielle Chana, the victim impact statement. It's all there. By convincing her that it wasn't real. Actually, they never convinced me. Not 100%. They're lying again, and they know it. But I decided to, I decided that other things were going on besides the formaldehyde, though I know that was a large part of my problem. Well, that might be why I tripped in that mobile home and got 9 stitches in my left knee, and then they tried to set my mobile home on fire. That was a tactic to try to pressure me into betraying that Brent Spiner had wiretapped my phone. You need to read my website, folks. It's all there. I'm a strong woman. If I was a weak woman, I would have probably betrayed Brent during that time, but I didn't. Once his job was finished, he was kindly released. Now let's go on to more of their targets. Those were their top agents. Matthew McConaughey. Put me on the list. I love Gail. Matthew McConaughey. After Vladimir Putin's failed heart attack in 2005, Matthew McConaughey was assigned as a replacement husband for about a month. When his time with Gail ended, he asked to be in line as her next husband, inspiring the rest of the list to spring forth. Jesuit agent Camila Alves later stole Matthew's sperm and artificially impregnated herself, obligating him into a relationship with her for the sake of his children. This successfully induced clinical depression, which was thwarted by additional telepathic sex with Gail and psychiatric counseling from Gerard Butler. Let me tell you what happened. Gerard Butler talked to me brain to brain and said, we have just discovered that Matthew's in clinical depression and has to do with this Camila Alves. He says, I know this goes against your moral grain and everything, but could you make love to him for a while? It would do well. So I did it. And apparently it brought him out. Because I care about Matthew. Even though he's not, I don't care about him as much as Brent and Vladimir, but he's a nice guy, and I don't want him depressed. He doesn't deserve this Jesuit crap. Okay, on to the next target. Hugh Jackman. When one of our agents attempted to assassinate Brent Spiner, Hugh Jackman pulled out his concealed weapon and shot our agent dead. Yay, Hugh Jackman! Give him a medal of honor, man. Good man, more money. Brent and Vladimir encouraged Gail to have telepathic sex with Hugh Jackman in order to reward him and boost his morale. Jesuits, you couldn't have stated it any better. Hugh Jackman was later put on the marriage list. In the meantime, we have murdered his original wife, and actually that happened before Hugh and I had our time together. Hugh has some moral standards, believe it or not. He wouldn't go around having telepathic sex with me if he still had his real wife. His real wife was murdered before he shot down Brent Spiner. Okay, it says, in the meantime, we have murdered his original wife and replaced her with a clone in order to destroy his once genuine love life. Hugh talked to me a little bit. He had a very good relationship with his wife and was quite devastated when she was murdered. And he's a good man. And he doesn't deserve any crap that he's getting from this website. And he certainly doesn't deserve to be targeted by these creepy Jesuits. On to the next target. Gerard Butler. Gerard functions as a psychiatrist for all of the men on the marriage list. He plays a significant role in screening and choosing the men for Gail's marriage list. Yeah, apparently this is a secret that he's not letting out, that he's a psychiatrist. I'm going to tell you, Gerard Butler has genius IQ, and he's brilliant. And he's also quite an incredible lover, but like I said, the men that I'm married to are Brent. I'm focused on Brent and Vladimir, but I'm only mentioning these guys because I don't want them harmed by the Jesuits. And because the Jesuits make this stinking website, and I'm going to give them hell over this because they make me mad that they had the nerve to do this. Jesuits, I'm giving you hell right now. How dare you make this website? Who do you think you are, you arrogant bastard, you? Okay, that's that, and that's done. Yep, and you know what, Jesuits? All I can say is I know you want to kill me, and I've known it for a long time, and I've also known for a long time that I'm the most targeted woman in the world, and I've said that many a time. All I can say is if you kill me, have fun dealing with all the bad press you're going to get over this. It'll stink to high heaven.